welcome.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, someone needed that alarm clock. So I'm John Ahmann, President of the Westside Future Fund. I'm not sure who people on my left are who.
Oh, yeah, yes. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. My name is Ebony Ford, and I am a very proud English Avenue resident right here on the west side the best side, everything else just the rest side. Okay. This is my personal opinion, and I'm also a very proud parent of Mr. Jeremiah sitting back there who goes to Hollis Innovation Academy, and I am the new Director of Community Building and Engagement at Quest. So west side all around.
Getting it done. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Benjamin Earley. I am with Redclay-Hill Communications and a proud fourth generation Westside resident. Lovely to see all y'all this morning. I'm really excited for our special guests. We have Historic Westside Gardens. They do amazing work on the West Side as far as providing access to fresh, nutritious food for over 327 families in an area that is devoid of many grocery stores, so they don't really have access to high quality food, and so that's where Historic Westside Gardens is filling in the gap. So I'm excited. We're going to be hearing from Ms. Rochelle Barnett, who's going to be giving our devotion, and we'll be hearing from Rosario, Hernandez, Executive Director, and a few other members of her team during the featured conversation. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, especially being a Westside resident. Very, sorry, John. Very happy for Rosario and Historic Westside Gardens work. And I think they started in 2010, so they've been in the game for a while at this point. And I think they have 5 green spaces around the West Side. So we'll hear more about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you. We always too want to start to welcome anyone who's here for the first time. Is anyone here for the first time?
First time visitors like church.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All right. See like 5.
Welcome in.
All right, first time, welcome. Thank you for coming here. So for a little bit about what's going to happen the rest of the morning, in just a moment we're going to do a devotion. I always pull, and thank you for doing our devotion this morning. And then after we do our devotion, probably more people have come in at that point. We do self-introductions just to help build community among us. And then we'll move into the, and I looked over at Benjamin because he's going to lead the panel discussion with the Historic Westside Gardens. And on the Historic Westside Gardens, I was thinking Rosario as a Historic Westside Garden, a true grassroots organization, right? I'm going to kind of play off the grass, but I really appreciate Rosario because she's been working, in the community for a long time, and she works very hard to find places in order to bring her gardens, and so I'm excited to hear more about that. And she, when we purchased a multifamily, she really advocated to put some of the gardens on our multifamilies, and has done an incredible job incorporating the residents into her vision for that. So I know we'll hear more about that. So what's next?
We want to make sure that we stay connected with folks, right? So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, follow all of that good stuff. You know the lingo. And to everybody who's watching right now on social, including my mom and my grandma and probably my sister, she might. You
sure about that? You really
my sister might not be up yet, but give her about 15 minutes. She works hard.
My family gave up a long time ago.
Hey man, listen, I can't speak for nobody but mine.
That's it. That's
you
all
feel
I got.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Everybody that'll be tuning in. If you have any, comments or whatnot, any Friday morning greetings on this cold but beautiful Westside Friday, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below. And also stay engaged with us. If you would like to participate in a future summit, if you would like to be engaged and, do something like deliver a devotion or be a part of the feature presentation, then just let us know. You can send us a DM. You can send us an email at info@westsidefuturefund.org. We would be happy and delighted to have you as part of the program and stay engaged with you.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and I'll mention again at the end of the program too. He's usually here. Daryl Leisure, who's with Chick-fil-A, been for Chick-fil-A a long time, also been a very regular attendee of the summits. But we've been doing the summits now for at least since 2015, 2016. They've kind of gone through a couple different phases, like we went through COVID. But given he's come a lot, knows some of the others, he's going to be, and some of you likely be hearing from him as we think about what might the summits look like going into next year and years beyond, if we need to think about, the time that we do it, the frequency, et cetera. So we're doing asked him to help us think through a little bit of rethink, so look out for him and reaching out to folks. But one part of our summit we know we love and want to keep, because it's such an inspirational part of our summit, is our devotion. And for our folks who are here for the very first time, we draw inspiration on the devotion. We don't necessarily ask the devotion speaker to kind of do a lesson from it, but draw inspiration from Nehemiah from the Old Testament, who was the cupbearer to the king and was called back to Jerusalem, which had moved into some real challenges, and then the rebuilding the city both physically and spiritually. And so it's a metaphor for our collective work. And I always read a devotion statement to ground our devotion, so I'm going to do that now. It's going to be up behind me as well. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community. Recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside revitalization effort, the time at the beginning of our meetings is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. So Rochelle Barnett, who's also a member of the Historic Westside Gardens, has agreed to share some inspiration with us this morning. She's been with the Historic Westside Gardens since 2017, and she first started with the gardeners on Joseph E. Boone, and she has been see, I have these notes. I've been a backyard gardener for over 30 years. So I know Rosario mentioned you were ready to step up and do this for us. So thank you very much. We're going to bring you up, and we'll get out of your way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, John, for that introduction. On behalf of Historic Westside Gardens, I just want to say thank you for inviting the Historic Westside Gardens here today to share with you, and also for offering me the opportunity to give the devotion for this morning. So first, I want to give honor to my personal Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. I would not be here without him. He is my rock. He is my strength, the wind beneath my wings. And I'm just so appreciative to be here this morning. So I want to just take a few minutes to read to you from Nehemiah. And I'll be coming to you from Nehemiah 5. But what I want to do is kind of set the backdrop first. In chapter 4, we were talking about Nehemiah and all the wonderful things that he's done, and as far as building the wall, rebuilding the wall, but not without distraction. Remember, they had Sanballat, and he was hurling insults to everybody, calling them feeble Jews, and saying if a fox kind of walked on the wall, that it would all come tumbling down. So Nehemiah gathered together the people, and he had a plan. And he organized it into 3 different groups. He had one group that was guarding the wall from sunup to sundown. He had a second group that was building the wall and doing the work. And they were building the wall with one hand, and they had a weapon in the other hand, but they continued to work. And then there was a third group that were the burden bearers. They hauled away the rubble, hoisted it up on their shoulder in baskets, but in the other hand, they had the sword to fight off the enemy. So those were the 3 things that he did to organize the group. So that's just kind of the backdrop. But Nehemiah was a fixer and a problem solver. So they kind of put Sanballat and his crew in place. So after that, Nehemiah kind of found his purpose in the community that he loved. So we'll start reading in chapter 5, verse 1. It said, "Now the men and their wives raised a great outcry against their Jewish brothers. Some were saying, we and our sons and daughters are numerous. In order for us to eat and stay alive, we must get grain. Others were saying, we are mortgaging our fields, our vineyards, and our homes to get grain during the famine. Still others were saying, we had to borrow money to pay the king's tax on our fields and vineyards. Although we are the same flesh and blood as our countrymen, and though our sons are as good as theirs, yet we have to subject our sons and daughters to slavery. Some of our daughters have already been enslaved, but we are powerless because our fields and our vineyards belong to others. So I'm just wondering, who are these people that are crying out when you had everything going so well in chapter 4? Now in chapter 5, you've got people crying out. Well, it turns out that Nehemiah had organized mostly men to build that wall. Who was left behind were the women, the children, and some men. So it's like they were responsible for their farms, they were responsible for getting seed, for planting, and for putting food on the table and taking care of the children. And they said, and we were many. These were large families that they were responsible for. Sidebar, this is what Historic Westside Gardens does. We provide the seed, we provide the plants, we provide the gardens, and they are self-sustaining in that. Amen. So what I wanted to get to, though, was there was one other verse. It said, Nehemiah, when I heard their outcry and these charges, I was very angry. So let's look at why he was so angry. There were 4 reasons why he was so angry. Number 1, even though he was focused on the right thing in building the wall, that was his purpose, that was wonderful, but he had overlooked a segment of the population. He had overlooked the poor, the women, and the children. It wasn't in his heart to do it. It was unintentional, but it happened. So he was more angry at himself that he had done that and overlooked them. The second thing was the brethren were exacting a large amount of interest against the people and basically imitating their oppressors. So they were the ones that had the funds to issue the loans, but the thing they were doing is they were taking the property in lieu of, like, if they couldn't pay their taxes, they would take the property, and they were putting an exorbitant amount of interest on top of those loans. So there's nothing wrong with having a business. If you're blessed to be able to make loans, there's nothing wrong with that. There's not even anything wrong with putting interest on top of it. But they were taking the land and the amount of taxes. I think that's where the Lord had a problem. The third thing is that it created a division between the brothers. You had the brethren, you had the haves and you had the have-nots. And that's not what it looked like in chapter 4. In chapter 4, everybody was working together. And now here, you've got this one group that are like, well, I've got money now and you don't. And they're oppressing the poor. And that made Nehemiah angry. And the fourth thing that happened as to why he was so angry is because it stopped the work. In chapter 5, there's no mention of any work being done on the wall at all. So that was the one. So I'm going to skip down to verse 12, because what he did was he gave them a tongue lashing. He called them all together and he told them that this was not right. So in verse 12, it said, we will give it back. It said, and we will not demand anything more from them. We will do as you say. So once again, Nehemiah found the problem, he fixed the problem, and he organized the people to be united. He found his purpose in the community that he loved. And then I'll wrap it up because I know I got to go. So the very last thing that he did was he put a prayer on it, and it just kind of sealed this chapter out. And he says, remember me with favor, oh my God, for all that I have done for these people. Why? Because he found his purpose in the community that he loved. And that is our prayer as well. Once we find what our purpose is in this community, our prayer should be, remember us, oh my God, for the work that we do. Amen? Thank you.
Well, thank you. You know, I start off by saying you didn't have to, the devotion speaker didn't have to really instruct from the text, but you did. So thank you, because clearly you've thought a lot about that. And appreciate the way you took the lessons that you had pulled from Nehemiah to how it might kind of apply to the collective work, and the way you ended with, finding purpose. And so, I don't know, maybe raise your hand if you feel like you've found your purpose. Kind of a great thing to think about. People feel like they've found their purpose. It's all right if you haven't. But once you've really found your purpose, to lean into it. So thank you for that. What we're going to, maybe give her one more round. That was... And I forgot to say for our new folks, we're broadcasting live right now, and everything is immediately available up on YouTube when we're finished. So if you want to share any part of this with folks you know. So our next part is self-introductions. And so what we'll do is go through the room. We get everyone in the room will get a chance to self-introduce. And looking at you because you're going to get to start. But we'd ask you to stand up, hold the mic reasonably close so people can hear. If you hold it too far away, it doesn't pick it up as well. And then we'd ask you to say your name, and then whatever affiliation you might carry. I live here or work here, and part of it is to really, and I would encourage everyone to listen, because you may learn about something that's like, hey, I know my purpose, and my purpose may be furthered if I get to know this person, or vice versa, that I could help that person. So the point of the self-introductions is to foster that connection. So I'm going to walk on down, and we'll go around the whole room.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Michael Crute. I am a realtor with the Welcome Home Atlanta team. We're with Keller Williams First Atlanta. I don't have a direct connection to the West Side. I just have a passion for people and a passion to see people taken care of and served well. And so I believe that it's my job and my responsibility to be as educated and as informed so that I know how to advocate and protect people while investment is going on, and so that they know the best way to make decisions for their family, their finances, and their future.
Wow, all right.
Good morning. My name is Justin Anderson. I, too, am with the Welcome Home Atlanta team, powered by Keller Williams First Atlanta. We're a team together, and we firmly believe in helping people write the next best chapter of their story through real estate, and that can take on a variety of forms and iterations. But first and foremost, what we really lean into is a sense of belonging, because belonging matters more than anything. And so we're committed to serving people through the lens of community, and really helping them, empowering them, to write that next best chapter.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Booker, and I'm a native West Side resident, born Georgia Peach. I'm a member of the West Side Future Fund Volunteer Corps.
All right.
And just trying to find my purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, great.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Bush, and I'm a legacy resident of the Booker T. Washington neighborhood. Some people call it Asheville Heights, but it's Booker T. Washington. We'll get there. And my purpose was served through 40 years of being a consumer and family science instructor at Atlanta Technical College. So I'm done. But I'm standing. I reached my 75th birthday in October, and my tennis team won their division, so we're still playing.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brandon Sherwood. I'm a West Side resident, and I work with Baker Tilly in the Real Estate Advisory Group with an emphasis on affordable housing transactions.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rogers Williams with Icon Filmworks.
Thank you.
Good
Good morning. Dustin Benson, civil engineer with Kimble Horn. We work in development world, and I've lived in Venetian Hills for about 2 years now.
Good morning. My name is Barrett Goldman, and I'm a civil engineer at Kimble Horn as well, but I also live around in Westside, so I'm interested in what's going on.
Good morning. I'm Elmarie Brennan, rounding out the Kimble Horn crew here, also a civil engineer and volunteer with Westside Future Fund.
All right, thank you, Kimble Horn.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Bellows. I'm a Westside resident and Westside Future Fund volunteer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharon Thrasher, and I'm a future Westside resident. I'm a legacy. At the moment, I'm a legacy resident of East Lake Terrace, and maybe you guys can help me sell so that I can get on this side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kelsey Wright with the Westside Future Fund, home on the Westside coordinator.
All right, and we're about to go through Westside Future Fund. May y'all just say real quickly what area you're into? Thanks.
Good morning, Nicole Jones, Office Administrator, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, everyone. Tamika Askew, Manager, Home on the West Side.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Rachel Carey, Chief Real Estate Officer.
Lee Harp, Vice President of Real Estate Development.
Natasha Anderson, Accounting Manager.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Crystal Walker, Accounting.
Good morning, Lewis Anderson, Project Manager.
All right, thanks, y'all. We know you.
Daryl Peak, Icon Filmworks.
Good morning, everyone. James Hammond, Icon Filmworks.
Brandon Brando, TMPAV.
David Herring, TMPAV.
Misty Kelly, TMPAV.
Shobek Cillian, TMPAV.
Jermel Evans, TMPAV.
Good morning, Charles Merriweather, Goodwill.
Thanks, Charles.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Medrano, and I'm with the American Heart Association, and I'm just here to learn and see what's going on in the community to be able to provide any resources that can better serve the folks here from the American Heart Association.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gerard Reynolds. I'm a public relations consultant for Redclay-Hill, and I'm a South Fulton resident.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Carrie Gober. I'm with the American Cancer Society. I thought it was amazing to see these nonprofit organizations here this morning that are here to support Westside Summit.
Thank you. I'll come this and then.
Good morning. My name is Myrna Clayton. I am a U.S. Cultural Ambassador working with Cultural Exchange and also founder and executive director of Showability. We work with performing artists on the disability spectrum.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Bates. I'm president of the English Avenue Neighborhood Association, president of Historic Westside Cultural Arts Council, and I am a resident, and I'm also so very proud to say that I'm on the board of Historic Westside Gardens.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lane Grooms. I'm a Westside resident, Southwest to be exact. I'm also a project manager, investment manager, and board chair of Historic Westside Gardens.
Yeah, come on down this way. Thank you. Thanks. All right.
Bob Butler, Coldwell Baker Realty.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Vincequera with Trees Atlanta. Soon to be our office is going to move to Oakland City. We're going to open it in the next 30 days or so. We're excited to be down. Best side is the west side. It's going to mean something else to us now.
Yeah.
Do I need this? Okay, good morning. I'm Kimble, Joyner. I'm here representing Ms. Rosario and Ms. Rochelle, and Mr. Allo here with the Historic Westside Gardens. They are wonderful stewards of land in my neighborhood. I'm a Westside resident. And I just wanted to take a pause for the past 3 years that we've endured and are sitting here enjoying together.
Thank you.
And in all of that, I have found purpose, and I have found drive to begin a foundation, and I'm working on a business plan for my foundation, and what I am going to use my life to do to continue to give back to my communities. I know about the tree planting tomorrow. Wish I could make it, but we're going to be over at the gardens testing the soil and blood pressure. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful encounter in this journey of mine, finding my purpose and acting on it, bumping into Miss Rosario Hernandez and team, and it has been inspirational, and it's been a wonderful experience just getting in that soil and really serving the community. It's like one of those small churches, where it's really going down. That's it.
Thank you, Kimble. I'm Rosario Hernandez, Historic Westside Gardens, and a resident of English Avenue.
Good morning. I'm Chapelle Benton, a new member of the historical Westside Garden on the West Side. I'm not from the West Side, but I'm on the West Side. But I'm in purpose.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Neil Shorthouse with Partners in Change. We provide free life coaching to motivated people.
Let you go one more time.
Sure. Good morning again. Rochelle Barnett with Historic Westside Gardens.
Good morning. Oops. My name is Alvin Miranda. I represent the Westside Historical Westside Garden. The director and the team members and Ms. Barnett, we're trying to do something very special that we have not done for a long time. Is to help the community, to give people a purpose. And I found out that being a gardener gives you a less stress. Don't have to worry about a whole bunch of stuff, but make sure your crop grows. And I hope we can all grow together in peace and harmony, and God bless.
Good morning, Corey Bishop with the Standing with Survivors Mobile Advocacy Unit at Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation.
All right, thank you. All right, well, you just came in at the perfect time. Did you mean to be in the room? We'll let you introduce yourself.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Jasmine Hooper. I'm with the American Heart Association, and I'm our Community Advocacy Director for Metro Atlanta.
Great, well, you did that very well, just catching it all of a sudden. Thank you. So raise your hand if I missed you. I know one person I missed. Anyone else?
Good morning, family. Tillman Ward, lifelong resident of the West Side, Booker T. Washington, Morris Brown College, and Atlanta University. And I'm based in historic Vine City, the original West Side. And as has been stated, we have a garden of opportunity. And of course, in gardening, it's therapy, and you get a chance to keep the tomatoes.
All right. Well, thank y'all. Maybe just congratulate ourselves for getting through that. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, and we're going to check in with some folks on social right now. As I said before, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And just a quick shout out to some folks that are tuned in right now. We got Jason Jones, Dr. Candy Tate. Thanks for tuning in, Dr. Tate. H. Drew Andrews, Lindsay Street Park. They are another fantastic organization doing green work here on the West Side. Ms. Gigi Sands, thank you. Myra Surratt Walters, thank you. Mother Moore, always a pleasure, love. Jania Billingsley, Regina Deloach, thank you. Councilman Byron Amos, good to see you, brother. And of course, we got our beloved Sonia Dawson tuned in, Muriel Murphy, Susan Banner, Sherry Belil of the Parent Avengers, and our big guy, Charles Ford. What's up, man?
Ooh, what's going on? What's going on? Thank you.
Yeah, but again, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. If you'd like to participate in a future summit, be featured at a future summit, or deliver the devotion at a future summit, just let us know. You can send us a DM, or you can send us an email at info@westsidefuturefund.org, or just come and holler at us while you're here in person. How about that, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, we look forward to staying engaged with folks. As well, we didn't mention this before, but a quick note, if you want to get today's bulletin, you can scan the QR code that's in the back on the table back there. We've gone green, folks, so we're not printing out as much paper.
Act like y'all don't see this.
Right, we got our Trees Atlanta folks here. I know they're proud partners in that. But again, the QR code is in the back, so you can check out all of the bios and information pertaining to today's summit and all of our featured guests.
Absolutely, yes. And speaking of the bulletin, so just going to go over a few things that's in here today. First of all, our vision and mission statement here for Westside Future Fund, there on the screen. We are always trying to create a community that Dr. King would be proud to call home. And we do that with the help of our board of directors. Now, this is an all-volunteer board, so they do not get paid for the work that they do for Westside Future Fund. So in the middle of building their businesses and raising their families and running their organizations, they also commit to helping us fulfill our vision here at Westside Future Fund. We are very, very grateful for their work and for their service on the West Side. We also have a very dedicated Westside Future Fund team. Many of them, as they introduced themselves a little bit earlier, are actually here today helping out with the summit. Very grateful for them as well. We also want to let you guys know that we do have tours of the West Side every second Saturday of every month. So it's a really, really good way to kind of see for yourself what Westside Future Fund is doing on the West Side. So I definitely invite you all to come out and do that again every month, second Saturday. You do have to register though. So do that on our website, westsidefuturefund.org, and come out and see us, all right? Also, when you guys walked in, there should have been someone there at the front, and you should have gotten 2 tickets, a red one and a blue one. Now, I don't know if you know exactly what they're for, but they're for a raffle. So Goodwill of North Georgia does a lot in the state of Georgia, obviously around the metro Atlanta area. But a lot of people don't realize they just don't have cool stores, because their stores are awesome. They actually, does anyone know what their actual motto is? They put people to work. Oh, okay. Well, we got the very informed crew here at Westside Future Fund. I know y'all know what's going on. So yes, they're also giving a gift card away today as well. So that's what that blue ticket is for. So if you did not get a blue ticket when you came in, please go back and make sure you get one. Now the red ticket, that is going to be for a gift card from the Home Depot Foundation. So a lot of people may not realize this. Home Depot Foundation has invested and is still investing tens of millions of dollars on the West Side. And they're giving a gift card away today as well. So that's what the red ticket is for. Does everybody understand? Everybody gonna get their tickets if you don't already have them? Okay. I don't want to get to the end and say, and everybody says, oh yeah, now I remember. No, I need you to make sure you got it now. Okay, that's it.
She just went real mama on y'all real quick, right?
Oh yeah, now I remember. I'm telling my age with that. Y'all know what song that's from, right? Okay.
All right. And just a quick note about the West Side tours. For those who might not be as familiar, Home on the West Side is Westside Future Fund's staple program. It's a deeply, genuinely affordable housing program that targets legacy residents of the historic West Side neighborhood. So Vine City, Booker T. Washington, Ashview Heights, AUC, as well as I missed one. English Avenue, thank you.
Don't forget, you forgot my neighborhood.
But that's why I look to you, because you're my co-host, and I know you got my back. But these are the neighborhoods that Westside Future Fund is focused on as far as helping to provide deeply affordable homes. And it's not just rental units, it's also home ownership opportunities, as well as property tax relief for legacy homeowners in these neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
And you can go on the website, westsidefuturefund.org/home on the west side, learn all about that. But the community tours is a great opportunity to really come out and get to see and appreciate the true scale of the work that Westside Future Fund is doing. It's literally hundreds of properties, and the real estate team and the accounting team, everybody at Westside Future Fund literally works their keisters off to get this very important work done. So come on out, see the scale, have a true appreciation, and get involved. We're happy to have you.
And I want to say I never miss the opportunity really quickly to let people know, speaking of the Home on the West Side and the tax relief portion of that, I am a recipient of that. Westside Future Fund is paying my tax increase until 2037. It is real. It is not a joke. It is not a trick. So yeah. And my taxes have increased a lot. So literally it is the reason that I'm able to stay in my house. I have a fixed rate mortgage, but what does that have to do if the taxes are climbing every year? You know, of course you guys know that. Yes. So there's that. So I'm an actual recipient. It is real. That's it.
Well, that being said, folks, I'm excited to get to our feature presentation with the Historic Westside Gardens. As we are prepping the stage for our guests to come on up, we have an intro video that we're going to roll for you so that you can just sort of get a nice welcome in of the Historic Westside Gardens to see what they're all about. All right, round of applause for our folks.
What connects us all? Is it the roads we travel or the buildings we live in? The tech in our hands, or the places we convene? What if it's simply the food that we eat? See, food has the power to connect, to revitalize, to fix what is broken. For 10 years now, we've set out to grow and to connect a network of diverse communities by creating 160 urban gardens in the historic west side of Atlanta. From backyards to front yards to community hubs and small urban spaces, we are filling the gaps left behind, revitalizing the historic west side neighborhoods of Atlanta through the power of home food gardening. And 10 years is a great start, but there's so much left to do and impact we can make.
So we are welcoming again the Historic Westside Gardens, and we appreciate all of you for being here this morning. Oh, you perfectly fine, y'all. So this is a little out of the ordinary, but it's cool, right? We just gonna post up like this. How about that?
You got my hair.
No, absolutely not, Rosario. Absolutely not. But I would like for each of you to just sort of go down the line and introduce yourself and state your affiliation with the organization, and we can start at the end over here. Yes, sir. Introduce yourself and
Oh, my bad.
No, you good.
You don't need to say.
My name is Alvin Miranda, and I've been in the historical West Side Garden for almost 2 years now.
About 3, yeah.
Yeah, about 3. And when I first started, I didn't know anything. All I know, I was putting my hand in dirt, and I wonder why. But as I progressed, I made all the garden beds that you see in the historical West Side Garden, at least 80% of them. I had learned, she taught me how to do them. And the thing I like the most is the feeling of helping somebody else. You don't do it, but you have to do it. And I appreciate everybody here that came, and I was early this morning, it was cold, brother. So I appreciate that, and I let Rosario go ahead and finish.
Yeah, Rosario Hernandez, and I've been in English Avenue 14 years now. I was kind of like put in the position of executive director by Gil Frank, who was one of the founding members. I accepted the role not knowing that it was more than just what I was used to doing, which was planting seeds and engaging the community. Being a director is a little bit different. But somehow, Rochelle says, when you're giving the purpose and you see what you're supposed to do, God gives you the strength. You just do it. So I'm grateful to serve in the community that I live. Alvin came in during COVID. He had just got fired actually from Best Buy because they let everybody go. They weren't selling anything during COVID. And we embraced him, and he's learned so much. I appreciate it.
Good morning
and
again.
Rochelle.
Rochelle Barnett. I'm Deputy Director of Historic Westside Gardens. And I was pulled in to try to help Rosario because there's just so much work that needs to be done. So I do what I can to support her.
And money to be raised.
And money, yeah, that too.
Wow. Let me first say good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry.
What? You ain't gotta be sorry.
I'm Chapelle, and I'm new at Westside Historical Garden. I work on the farm, and in, I think it's Hope. Mm-hmm. And I also work a couple of times at, give me another one. It's
Heaven.
Heaven's
Corner.
Yeah. And I think I've been there like, I met Rosario through Kelly. I was working at, and still do work also at Lindsay Street, under John. Gardening, that's what I call it, gardening, farming. I know it's for the people. It's for, it's so much bigger than what it seems. It really more spiritual than just the norm. It gives me a sense of purpose. It helps me with, believe me, these seeds and growing seeds, it also helps with integrity, morals, patience, kindness, and love. And I think that's how we have, since I've been working, we've been working together, with combining with all that I have named in the seed. That's how we have had a very pretty green west side garden this year.
Amen.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. And I was just out there yesterday. It's gorgeous. The Elm Street Farm was gorgeous.
Oh my God.
Mr. Kimble.
Oh, yeah. My name's Kimble Joyner. I mentioned myself before. I'm steward in the land along with Miss Chapelle over at the Elm Street Farm. And I just second everything that she just said. I've delved myself into learning agriculture, I've delved myself into learning agriculture for the purpose of what it really truly means. I've learned so much from digging in the dirt and learning the essential nature of feeding oneself and feeding others. And doing it with people who are doing it has inspired me so greatly. It's like I've gained the sensation in an entire limb of mine that was numb. It's part of our DNA to feed ourselves. And gosh, it's just been an amazing, and second everything, it's been an amazing experience. And Miss Chapelle got babies out there, and I mean, it's really beautiful.
And we work hard. We work hard.
Miss Rosario, just tell us how Historic Westside Gardens got started.
Well, Historic Westside Gardens actually got started by a group of folks actually from Buckhead that were doing voter registration. And then they stayed during the Obama campaign in 2008. And they saw a need for, like they said, there aren't any markets or grocery stores. And, you know, people would go into the gas stations and bodegas just to really buy chips and drinks and alcohol. And, you know, so they saw that there was an unhealthy vibe. And so how do you change that? You think back and you say, well, how can we provide something a little bit better? So the idea was we're going to teach people how to farm. And from that, they can grow some food and sell it. And that program, within English Avenue in Vine City, they got 10 residents that did that class with actually True Living Well. Rashid Nouri planned a program for them. And they did this for several weeks. and they learned to be urban farmers or gardeners. But when it was over and they weren't being paid that little stipend to attend class, they kind of dropped out. Because the reality is, like Ms. Chapelle saying, planting that seed, taking care of it, and nurturing it to finally get the fruit of your labor takes time. And sometimes the bugs get the food before you do. So they realized that there was not money in agriculture. And that's why agriculture is subsidized, by the way, because it takes so much time, energy, and care. And then at the end, you're like, I'm going to sell this bunch of collards for $4 or $5. Doesn't make sense. So rewind, what can we do next? So Gil Frank said, what if people were doing their own gardening? And they went back, and I said, Gil Frank, Noel Martz, Owen Matthews, Makeda Johnson was really instrumental in helping us. Sister Precious Mohammed opened doors that could not be opened because these people were from Buckhead. They weren't from the community. And so I came in that they had been in the organization was working for about 4 years. And I just wanted to garden. I'm this kid from Washington Heights. I taught school for 20 years. I had just retired. I wanted to eat good food. I said, if I can't buy it, I'm going to grow it. So, I taught myself how to grow some stuff. Took some classes with Truly Living Well. And then I said, if I could learn, the teacher in me, anybody could learn. If I taught myself, I could teach other folks how to do this. And so we hit the streets like knocking on doors. Would you like a garden? Where do you get your food from? Have you ever tried this, that, or the other? Well, you know what? We could teach you. And that was my pitch. If you grow it yourself, you know what hands touched your food. Amen. It's not that person in the grocery store. Achoo! Oh, no, I don't want that pack. I want this. Oh, wait a minute. And then they keep going. You know who touched your food, because you did. You grew it with your family. You took care of it. And like I said, sometimes it doesn't work. And guess what? We have the farm so that we can give away some produce, the Elm Street Farm, and also for those that can't afford it, they can purchase produce at a sliding scale. But anyway, we continue to do that and started with 7 gardens. Next thing you got 14. We set up the garden on Vine Street and Delbridge, which is a big community garden that has a children's garden attached to it. So if you have a little school, private or public or daycare, the children's garden is there for you to do visits to that. And you don't have to pay anything. You can give a donation, but you don't have to pay anything. We will give you a tour and teach them the different things. We even have bees there. Yeah. And then, what else can I say? Little by little, it started to grow. Now we have over 80 home gardens and the 4 community gardens and the small farm. We go to residentials. So Scholars Land, Oasis
Scholars Landing.
Oasis at Scholars Landing. They have a beautiful garden in the backyard. We pick produce from there and do cooking demos. And the residents come down. And the most important thing about the residentials is those seniors, folks with limited mobility, but also folks that really don't, they're kind of like, that's their whole community, that building, that apartment complex. When we come in, they get to engage. They talk. They explain how they used to farm, how they used to take care of crops. And so it's a whole, we bring like something more than food. We bring like that engagement piece. So here's some of our slides.
Well, that's great, and actually, that leads into
and this is at a residential. This is Legacy of Vine City. And some of the homes,
Yeah. I love the excitement right now. You can feel it. But yeah, that's a great segue to the next question. You spoke about education and learning things. Mm-hmm. And you know, Historic Westside Gardens, you have a long history of community service, a long history of, providing sustainability and helping to teach about sustainability. What have been some of the biggest lessons from your work that you would take away?
That's
And
a
you
good
can- yeah, you can go ahead and start,
That's a good question. Some of the things that I see and just speaking with the home gardeners mostly is where my passion is. I see how their health has turned around. And I actually recorded one lady because she started talking about her weight dropping, her A1C numbers dropping. And I'm like, can I record you on this? And we need to capitalize on that and just get the word out that it's more than just growing the food and eating healthy. That's part of it. But I mean, it's real health. It's health in numbers that you can see and prove. And you go back to your doctor and he or she is asking, what are you doing different? And I said, nothing really. I'm just eating what I'm growing. So that's the life lesson for me, is just seeing the testimonies that are coming through the work that we're doing just out of passion. I mean, I was like Rosie, I was a backyard gardener. I joined this group just because I liked the garden. But there was so much more. And like I said, I really have a passion for the seniors. When you get out there, they have so much wisdom. And just playing in that dirt, not playing, but playing in the dirt with them, it brings out these stories from them. You know, it's like the oral history of our culture. You know, you get to hear and learn so much more about the different communities.
And you gave us a good segue. We actually have that video that you filmed. And if we're ready, we can go ahead and roll that testimonial, because it is a great testimonial about it.
Hi, my name is Harriet Fagans, and I live in the Vine City community here at the Villas of the Dome 2. I'm a resident here in Unit 72. I have 3 bins over there out the garden: tomatoes, peppers, greens, mustard greens, and collard greens. And since the whole year, 2 years now since I've been eating out the garden, I'm no longer on blood pressure medicine, which was amlodipine. My A1Cs went down. My doctor went down on my insulin intake from 25 units to 12 units, and it's all because eating out of this garden. It has been very beneficial to me and my family. I've also dropped some pounds, and I will continue to keep growing and eating what I grow. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate y'all. Let's keep up the good work.
That's right.
Wow.
And you know, I love that because it really does show how, you know, eating healthy is just one aspect of overall health, but it's one that, you know, many people take for granted because there are a number of people who, quite frankly, just can't afford to eat very healthy, or they live in an area that is deprived of healthy options. So to actually be able to invest in your health through food is great, because it saves you that money later on when it comes to health care. But what types of foods do you grow? What types of crops do you have?
Well, this is the season, fall and winter, mostly for greens. So any green you can think of: collard greens, kale, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, all of that. But then there's root vegetables, the carrots and onions and garlic, and name some other things, Rosie.
Yeah, some lettuces.
Oh, what didn't grow? The rutabaga.
Yeah.
I don't even know what a rutabaga is, but somebody asked me to grow it for them. It didn't work. Some of these pictures that you see, then you see the children engaged. We have one family that when the mom took a picture of him pulling that carrot out of the ground, and his eyes are like, what? Like, oh my God, I just looked at that picture, and every time I see it, it just makes me smile.
Because
he
he
was so
planted
excited.
it. When we go out and we know there's children in the home, we bring them into the garden, and they play in the soil and they plant the seeds. So 2 months later, 6 weeks later, he pulls out an entire carrot. He just can't believe that he did this himself.
And let me say, we grow lettuce. We grew, this is my first time working in the garden. We grew lettuce in the garden this year. And when I went in the grocery store, I saw the same lettuce.
Yes, you did.
And the price for the lettuce was like this big.
Yeah.
And it had a name, Springfield lettuce.
That's right.
And I looked And I was like, oh my God, $7. So when I went to work at the farm, I told Miss Rosario, can I please have some lettuce? And she said, what? I was like, yeah, I saw this lettuce in the grocery store, and it's $7.
Yes.
And it has a name, Springfield, but in the garden it's just lettuce.
Right there.
And she got me some.
That's
and
it.
she bagged it for me. And when
Talk about the taste of it, though.
and when I got home, I'm a single person, so I think the older I get, the more food enhances me. So I made the salad with the lettuce out of the garden. That's $7 in public. And I got me a good movie. And remind you, I help nourish the vegetables in the garden. So I proceed to watch my movie, and this is true, and eat my salad. I began to. And I was like, why is this salad doing this lettuce? And it's
happy feelings.
Yes,
Yes, it
and
does.
it's a lot of love in the lettuce.
That's right.
Because we plant with a lot. We plant with love.
Yes, Lord.
And that's the only way that it grows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
other thing is your pocketbook and your wallets love that too. 'Cause
Yes.
right now, inflation has
Wow.
grocery prices
It's
through the
crazy.
roof. So, I mean, I don't know what's higher, grocery prices or property tax.
Yes.
So, that's great to be able to know that I can just go down the street within walking distance and I have access to this fresh food.
I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying. You do save money. Like your food budget does go down, and you find yourself like not buying. I'm not a vegetarian. I still eat, but I find myself not buying as much like other stuff.
Yeah.
Like I walk by and say, I got onions in my backyard. What am I just thinking about? They may not be big, but I can get those little onion tops. I got garlic. I have this. I'm gonna put some mint in my tea. So it's just like makes it so easy. Especially the herbs just enhance the food. But what we don't realize is that the herbs have so many nutritional properties.
Yes.
And it's so good to cook with them. And it just like, what did you put in this? And it was like, oh, oregano and sage. And, I actually added a little bit of mint this time. So it starts to become a way of life for us. Where what can I plant this year that I haven't done last year? You keep, gardening takes over sometimes. It's like gaming.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like collecting seeds. Like you eat a good tomato and it's like, I have to save the seeds. Yeah, but it's only me. But I just want to honor Chapelle so much because she came and she said, I haven't done a lot of this, but if you teach me, I'm going to learn it.
Boom.
And everything we have taught her, she has learned, and she puts it to practice. And when we have a volunteer group come in, and I told her the other day, your calling was to be a teacher, because she is a good teacher, and she teaches them how to do things the way she was taught. And she'll tell them, this is this, and this is that, and this is the other. And she's learning about composting now, because we do composting at 2 of the community gardens. So, it's like we come in, but then we don't realize that what we're doing, although it's simple, it's going to transform our life.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to Alvin. So I was like, Alvin, I'm going to teach you how to make garden beds. And he was like, why do I got to do that? Alvin can be a little grumpy in the morning. And I was like, because you could be our carpenter. We don't have a carpenter. And so we actually went to Home Depot and bought some tools. And, men like tools. And they love Home Depot. So we got a bunch of tools. And tell them, what did you learn?
Yes, ma'am.
How many garden beds have you made?
I can't even count them.
Yep.
Yeah.
One time, what is that, where we have the 16 beds? What's,
Yeah.
Villas of the
Villas
Dome.
of the Dome, yes.
Villas of the Dome, yeah.
This young lady told me, I need 16 beds, and I need them
In 2 days.
in 2 days. I did it in one. All right.
Wow.
Yes, he did.
And it was just like, because once you start working with your hands and you're creating and developing something that you can actually see and say, I'm so proud, I built that.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do with communication, and every human being must communicate. Because if we don't, everything just falls apart. You know, and I appreciate Ms. Rosario and the team. She's a demanding person. But she does it because we got a community that we have to serve.
Yeah.
Right.
And time doesn't wait for
There are the
nobody.
16 beds there.
Yeah, they are.
And Alvin is also veteran, Army. How many wars?
2.
Desert Storm?
Desert Storm, Iraq War, the government, you name it.
The government.
And
We
may I
appreciate you.
say,
Thank you for your service. Oh, and,
Thank you.
know, that's a good segue for this next question, which is basically what type of community programs do you actually offer at the Gardens? We know that you bring folks in who are inquiring as to how they can participate, folks that are residents local to the Gardens. What other types of programs do you have?
So in addition to the home food gardens, which is if you live on the west side, we kind of keep our location, just the areas, kind of like what we're doing with Westside Future Fund. It's Asheview Heights, Booker T, and English Avenue, Vine City, Hunter Hills, and we go out a little bit out to Bankhead, but we try to keep it kind of like within a perimeter where we can travel easily. We visit the homes once a month to make sure that people are being good stewards to what they're growing and making sure that they are harvesting, but also to have that community engagement piece. And then we have the community gardens, and the Elm Street Farm is a small farm that we just started to revitalize in March, and it's come a long way since we started. And tomorrow we will have an activity there where Emery will do the soil shop. And the soil shop is that you bring in a bag of soil from your house. So you guys that are homeowners, bring a front yard, backyard, get 2 separate Ziplocs, and they will test your soil for contaminants. They're not testing your soil for nutrients to see if you need to get some of that Miracle Grow, whatever it is that people use. We don't use that. But it's to test it for contaminants. And then we're also going to have Morehouse School of Medicine doing blood pressure. They're going to volunteer and kind of like begin to work within the community through Historic Westside Gardens, but through other organizations just to see how they could fit in. These are students and first-year students mainly, and they want to see how they can become part of the impact. Our HBCUs are like right there in our backyard, so they could do a lot of field study with the folks that live right here. And then the residentials is like when we go to the apartment buildings. And we also have the Westside Growers Market. So the Westside Growers Market is some of the produce that we grow to get a little bit of funds. Those funds are actually used just to buy seeds and maybe plants because it's not a whole lot of money you make. But it brings, like we'll go to residentials and do pop-up markets for those that cannot grow food. Like this is at a residential, the film that's right there. Yep. So it's seniors. We bring the market to them. We accept EBT, which is electronic, whatever, blah, blah. We call it Eat Better Today, EBT. That's not what it really means. Electronic benefit transfer. But what else do we do?
Well, I was going to say that another program really is on education.
Yes.
So we do cooking demonstrations, and we go out because at College Town, that's one of the residentials. At College Town, we actually have a bed that's separated just for herbs. And the residents are always asking, what do you do with all of these herbs? So they're growing and I go and harvest, but they don't know what to do with it. So they're growing sage, they're growing thyme, mint, basil. So one of the cooking demonstrations, we made saged rice.
Yum.
They
Yum, yum,
poured
yum.
that. Now, maybe it was a lot of the butter that I slipped in there, but you could taste the sage coming through, and it was such a different experience. The other thing that we made, I think, with that demo was I make this basil, lime, sorrel tea. I don't know what all I put in there, but it's really, really good, and it's healthy. So I give them the recipes, and they repeat those recipes, after we're gone.
Tell us about some of your partnerships, like with Food Well Alliance, some of your partnerships that help you to advance your mission.
Food Well Alliance has always been a good supporter of what we do from the beginning. This year in particular, last Saturday, we planted 6 fruit trees and 4 blueberry bushes. And the year before, no, actually in the spring, we built the accessible garden beds. So at a property that actually is owned by Westside Future Fund, we call it Heaven's Corner. It's in English Avenue. We have 3 accessible beds where if you're a senior and you can't do all this bending down, but you don't have to be a senior. Anyone that has any type of back problems, or you can't be, gardening is hard on your body if you don't bend or stretch out before you get started. So those beds are there for that purpose. But Food Well Alliance helped to pay for the wood, because we'd use cedar and it was very expensive. And but in addition, the fruit trees, the grants, the garden grants that we get every year, and just to have that collaboration, they come out with volunteers. Flannery is like amazing with these machines that I'm like, oh my God, how can she, like these huge tractor kind of machines, and she knows how to use them all. So Food Well Alliance has always been there for us, and we appreciate it, absolutely.
So we actually have a update video. I had the privilege of going out to the Elm Street Farm yesterday with Rosario and Kimble, and just seeing all of the work that they've put into rehabilitating that farm, because it was sort of left alone for a while though, but they've put a lot of effort into restoring this part of the community, and it's a true asset to the community. It really is. And if you got that video ready, we can go ahead and cue that up. But we appreciate the work that you're bringing to these different neighborhoods, because, like I said before, there are a lot of people who just simply don't have access, and especially when you are talking about folks who lack transportation, means of transportation. When you live in a food desert and you don't have transportation, that's kind of a perfect storm for you to be malnourished. So thank you for the work that you're doing to fill in the gap. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Rosario Hernandez. I am the Executive Director of Historic Westside Gardens. Today we're at the Elm Street Urban Farm, and this coming Saturday we're going to have an event for the community where we will be harvesting and giving up collards and different kinds of greens for people's Thanksgiving dinner. But we're also going to have a day of fellowship where folks can just come out, hang out with us, and have a cup of soup or some chili. Isn't it beautiful? This space in particular has been in the community for about 10 years. But for the past few years, it was kind of like not being used as much, so we were able to come in and turn it back into the beautiful farm that it once was. Folks can bring their compost to us, and we'll drop it in here and continue to compost, and then that compost is actually used in our fields later on. Over here you can see the collards that will be given to our community next week. We also have carrots and Swiss chard and kale and salad and a lot of other things growing. And this Saturday in particular, we planted several fruit trees so that we'll have fruit growing this springtime. We have blueberries, pomegranates, plum trees, which seem to be a favorite here on the west side, and service berries for the birds and squirrels and the little critters they also have to eat. In addition to giving away the collards for our Thanksgiving dinner, we will also host the soil shop with Emory University, And we're so fortunate that Morehouse will have some students from the School of Medicine doing blood pressure and just getting to know a little bit about the community so that they can tap in and see how they can help with some of the resources as they are learning to be, in their profession. They want to be doctors. This space, we grow organically. We don't use any type of pesticides and get the best seeds or plants possible. We call it a farm because it is for us to grow produce with the intent of giving it away or selling it at a sliding scale. If you could afford to give us a contribution or a donation, of course we will accept it. But if you can't, that's okay. That's not what it's about. So hopefully we will continue in this space for a few more years and be able to be an asset to this community. So thank you for coming out and visiting our small farm here on Elm Street. Rosario, Hernandez, resident of Elm Street, so I enjoy just walking down and seeing what we're growing and eating the food too. Thank you. Thank you, Benton.
Wow.
So what I mentioned, the combination of people not having access and all of this stuff. What, in your opinion, is the biggest challenge right now as far as food policy, specific to the West Side, and how do you envision solving some of those problems?
Go ahead.
Well, from what I understand now, even for us, we have to have permits for the land that we're growing on. We haven't had to do that in the past. And actually, Kimble, did you find
No, that I didn't bump into them.
the
but-
person?
Yes.
So we do have some great people in Urban Ag, this Office of Resilience, so just getting more information on what we need to do next. One of the things that have been a situation and is like if you don't own the land, you never know what's going to happen next. So like the garden that we have on Jet Street and James P. Broadley, that land is owned by Westside Future Fund. And when we first started to use it, they were very instrumental on making sure that I had a proper lease, that we had our insurance, that we did things right, and we feel safe there. But at other places that were just kind of like, well, this was an empty lot, and now all of a sudden, 10 years later, the owner of the lot, and this is in Vine City, the owner of the lot has appeared from wherever she was at and says, well, you've been paying our taxes. And I said, yes, we have. For 10 years, we've been paying these taxes because we didn't know, and everybody said that the person had died and they had abandoned the land. So we turned it into a community garden. It don't belong to us. So if she decides to sell the land, we will have to pick up our garden and leave. And that's happened to us before. We had to move a whole farm because we don't own the land. So it's great when you have the opportunity to work with like Westside Future Fund that they, gave us a lease and they said, this is how long you have it. And if you do a good job, we can extend that time. And the Elm Street Farm, that land belongs to FACA. And the same thing, Dr. Joyce said, you can have this land for this period of time. If you do a good job, we will extend that time. And so what are we commissioned to do? To do a good job, right? And, but we can't count on what you don't belong. And I say that all the time because if you have the opportunity to buy dirt, buy some dirt because it's yours and you can do whatever you want on it. And I know that's a different topic altogether.
Well, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges besides owning properties that, Historic Westside Gardens has?
No, it's just, we have a good team that believes in what we believe, and that's important. Funding, operational money. I don't expect these folks to work for, minimum wage. They need to be paid what is considered a livable wage, which to me, for the amount of work that's being done, should be more, because this is hard. This is hard.
Yeah.
Right, Ms. Chapelle?
Yeah, but it's hard but it's worth the ride because it is for the community. It is for the people that is not fortunate enough to get the stores. And during the time that I have been working there, people walks up out of the community and inquire about food. So yeah, its purpose is being.
And when they inquire about food, can I have some of this?
Yes,
Absolutely.
the purpose for the garden is being, is doing what it needs to be doing for the community. Because like I said, when I'm working, people walks up with babies and their little bags and they want food. And
Because they don't have access.
that's my that's our purpose. Is to supply the food for the people in the neighborhood. Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody here has had the chance to volunteer at an urban farm, but I got a chance before COVID to volunteer with Historic Westside Gardens. And the day that I was out there, you know, you guys had just built, actually, Rosario, you were finishing building a couple of the beds yourself. And, you know, this woman is, you know, second to none as far as power tools, power drills and stuff like that. And, you know, I got a chance to really appreciate the amount of work that went into it because, again, you don't use pesticides. Everything is organic. Exactly. So you have to go out and you have to manually pluck out the weeds that grow in between the crops. You have to you go and change the dirt and all of these things. Yeah,
And the bugs, right?
Right, you know, and the bugs, right? But there's a tremendous amount of work, a lot of care that goes into it. So I do, you know, appreciate that learning opportunity. And anybody who would like to volunteer, I encourage you to volunteer with them. But other ways for people to get involved, donate, volunteer. What are some ways that people can get involved?
I think that's it. Donate, volunteer. It doesn't have to be like a huge volunteer group. It could be your family.
Yes.
You're having a family gathering. What can we do to break the monotony of watching football the whole day? Maybe we'll go out to the garden for a few hours or for 1 hour or whatever segment of time and help out. Like I said, it's 4 community gardens. At a community garden, you can get a garden bed and everything that you need to be successful in planting that bed is provided, including a coach. That coach, you know, you make an appointment, the coach will meet you at the garden. And like I said, we have one on Vine City, 2 gardens on Elm Street, and Villas of the Dome. The residents that live there, they can adopt their own box so that they can grow what they want. And when we say what would they want is because depending on the culture, you may want things that are different. I may want a certain kind of pepper that I'm used to eating in Puerto Rico that is not a really hot pepper, and you may want a habanero. You know, so so that you know, so we honor the folks right where they're at.
Yes.
And that's important. That's important.
And we'll find work. If you
Yes.
if you want to volunteer, we will find work for you to do.
And it doesn't always have to be out in the garden. We need a lot of technical support. Like when I was being raised, we didn't have a lot of computers. We did bookkeeping with a ledger.
The Dewey Decimal.
Still trying to learn how to do this QuickBook thing, and I totally messed it up. Thank God for the accountant that did the taxes, fixed it a little. But anyway, that's a different story. But you know, there's other things, flyers, promotion, bring those kids out to the garden so they can learn. So there's other things you don't have to leave your house to do.
Yes, sir.
And spread the word.
I want to thank the youth, the young people. We had so many volunteers.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 14-year-old, 15-year-old.
Yep.
They will come and they will just do everything that we ask them to do if they want to. And they don't care. They'll get into the dirt. I had 2 young ladies, and I said, what are you doing? And they just doing the compost, dirt all over their hair, their fingernails, and all of that. And then they said to me, you know what, Mr. Al, I like this.
Playing with the worms.
Playing with worms.
Hopefully no snakes,
There
but
were snakes.
They
The
were, they
two
did.
girls that were in that, one of the pictures, those were actual snakes that they found in the soil bags.
Right.
So, and they liked it. Oh, can I take him home? And one girl said, well, I've got a pet turtle. Maybe he can play with the snake. I'm like,
I don't
that
think that's a good
relationship
idea.
will not last long.
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, so through Wholesome Wave Georgia, we do double the EBT for fresh produce. Now, for value-added items like jam or breads and stuff like that, because then what we do is if we have leftover stuff, we make jam. If you have, if we do an event and we have leftover bananas, you make banana bread. You know, so whenever we don't try to let nothing go to waste.
Right.
We pickle peppers, you make pickles with the cucumbers. So those value-added items, you do pay the full price, but anything else that comes from the field, it is, you pay just half, or you can double your buck. Thank you, that's a good question.
And if we're going to open up to questions from the audience, but if you could raise your hand so we can get the mic over to you so everybody can hear your question.
Thank you. I don't actually have a question, I have a comment. I just like to thank you for being here this morning. You know, I grew up with my grandparents rearing me, with my grandparents rearing me, and we had a garden in the backyard. When we first moved there, I was 10 years old, and I remember a lot of fruit trees being in the front. The neighborhood was beautiful, and it's coming back. So I said that to say, I'd like to volunteer if you'll have me.
Thank you. And you can do that just by going on our website. There's a donate button and there's a volunteer button. Did I keep saying donate button?
You got it right.
I know.
Yay.
Good morning, everybody, again. Just want to thank everybody for coming out. Again, I'm the board chair for Historic Westside Gardens, and this is our treasurer, Tracy. I'm looking up here at the team that makes all of this happen, and I'll speak for them because they're extremely humble people. And y'all can hear how hard they work. Y'all can hear the passion. Y'all can hear the dedication, like in their voice when they speak. That's why I was so happy to be brought onto this board. So I'll speak for them. We do need help as far as donations. You guys can all take out your phones now and go on historicwestsidegardens.org. We have the donate button that's just a couple tabs over. We're also hiring. We need digital media persons, social media specialists, someone who can help get our word out there, tell this amazing story that we're continuing to do every day. We need help with that. So if you guys know anybody who's looking for a job as far as social media goes, we're hiring for that. We're also always looking for more gardeners. As Chapelle was saying, as Alvin was saying, as they were all saying, it's extremely rewarding, and there's nothing else in the world like it. So if you guys know gardeners and people who are looking for positions, please again go on historicwestsidegardens.org, send us an email, info@historicwestsidegardens. Thank you all again for coming out, and I think Tracy had something that she wanted to say, but thank you all again.
Thank you. That's right. Go on, donate.
And we need land. So we need to own a garden or at least have a space in the community that we can do long-range planning. As the treasurer and as others are here, and as we're talking to Westside Future Fund, the opportunity to donate the land and or give us a 100-year lease, something to that nature, will make the plans of the garden much more sustainable and give us the assurance that we don't have to reinvent ourselves every couple of years and move what we've planted in the dirt. So we do need the opportunity to own the dirt. And there may be somebody in that is not here in the room or here in the room that has access to property that are looking for a worthy cause in which to invest and make a legacy happen.
Thank you. Mike with Trees Atlanta again.
Hi,
So
Mike.
two things. Number one, how do you source your trees? Because we can certainly help you with that if it's a way to help you cut your costs, persimmon, serviceberry, whatever it might be. We don't usually do apples and peaches, which everyone wants because they're really hard to grow. But anyway, secondarily, do you have issues with invasive plants around your gardens, kudzu, wisteria, that might need some expertise? Because that's something that we also do is help manage those invasive plants.
So, yeah, thank you so much. So the last fruit trees that we got, again, was from a grant that I wrote to Foodwell Alliance. But I understand that Trees Atlanta is going to have like an open thing in December that you can get some, yeah, we were talking about persimmons because I just found out that the persimmon is so delicious. I had never eaten one. I was like, what is that weird looking apple? No, not apple, tomato. And then one of the gardeners, Noah, who's not here, he gave me one. He said, try it. And I was like, oh my God. It's like a mango with a cantaloupe, with a papaya. And it's just like, it's all of it in, like it's dancing in your mouth, right? But yeah, kudzu. Kimble and I were talking about it. We have a whole back field full of kudzu. And one of the things we were thinking about, if we could clear that, we would have so much more space to do composting in order to create, which we created the name, the Bucket Brigade. We give you an empty bucket and you save your food scraps. Of course, all the training comes along with this, so you know what to compost and what not. And when you're ready for us to pick it up, we pick up your bucket and give you a clean one. So that's why it's called the Bucket Brigade. And but that would be an excellent place to kind of like set that up so that we could have a place where the whole community could like drop off compost. And I know Truly Living Well is doing this, but sometimes our people don't have a way of getting there. And the home gardens that we visit, they could be doing, they would welcome the opportunity to do composting, but they just need that one person to help out with it, yeah. So kudzu is a problem.
Go ahead. So besides kudzu, there's this other residential property that we had, residential's Quest, where they have the veterans. And we have all of these garden boxes, but I don't know what these things are. They might be blackberry briars. I mean, you don't want to just pull them up, but we need all of that cleared out, and we don't have the resources to do it. But I think it's invasive. If there's anything you could do to help with that, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and the amount of kudzu in the back of the farm, just like if that kudzu can be removed, that's a lot of food.
It's a lot of land, right?
A lot of land.
First of all, I'd like to commend you for your hard work. I've worked with Ms. Rosario in one of her gardens on Vine Street. How are you connecting with the school system to tie into the science of the food you grow? I say that because my daddy was an ag teacher for 34 years. Remember 4-H? How are you plugging in to the science classes? I noticed that Washington High School has a garden. Atlanta is known for their trees, so you have to find a sunny spot. But it would be very beneficial if you could plug in to the science classes. I'm a home economist, and teaching nutrition, you know, that would help them and just go the whole track from nutrition to a career track. You don't, I know you know, but you don't realize the intellectual value you have with the city of Atlanta school children. And I say that because I worked in very poor counties in Georgia before coming to Atlanta. So food and ag and home economics are paramount. Although people don't want to be associated with the trades. But when you go to the grocery store and you buy a $7 head of lettuce, bells go off, okay? And I grew up with 4-H and in a segregated community, but we had 4-H. So connections, money, I know is tight, But may I say, you need to tap into Atlanta workforce development. They have money to train people. They do. They have federal money, a lot of money. And they're sitting down at Washington Street waiting for someone to apply for it.
Oh.
So, yes, we need to talk.
So I would say that before COVID, we did have a garden that we would actually come out to Hollis, and then it kind of like just, COVID came and it stopped. So I have been reaching out to Hollis Elementary thinking that's our home school there, and we really haven't had that connection. So now that there is a different principal and things are moving a little differently, maybe we can get back to where the STEM or STEAM person can, because first of all, we built a children's garden in Vine Street just so that people could bring their kids during COVID. But now the kids are back at school, it's not being used enough. But we could take a program to a school. That, and whatever it would take, for us to be able to do the class. But we need that buy-in from the teachers also. And we need to know the curriculum. We need to know what they want us to, as a former educator, I kind of like have an idea, but at the same time, you're not going to drop off a bunch of kids and we're going to babysit them. Y'all need to be there and be engaged in what we're doing.
Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it includes everything. It includes, it includes your math. It includes not only nutrition, it includes a lot more than just planting a few seeds, yes. And so Byron Amos, who formerly was on the board of Historic Westside Gardens, he did explain the whole thing that was going on in Washington High School. But I feel, I wouldn't say we because I'm just speaking for myself, that we need to start at the elementary school and then just continue, like Agnes Jones does with Truly Living Well. We need to have that same program at Hollis. And we would welcome the opportunity to do that, yes.
We got more questions.
Hi, I just had a follow-up question just with all the opportunities that you all are mentioning. So American Heart Association is hosting an event in December around just thanking the city of Atlanta for a recent investment that they made in doubling SNAP benefits. So if possible, I would love to invite you all out. And I just wanted to know, like, if I can quickly get someone's contact information on who I should reach out to do that.
Absolutely, I'll give you my contact as soon as we leave.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, the panel has done an excellent job on bringing gardening and farming to the next level. Old school question, does the Farmer's Almanac play any part in you all's projecting and predicting production outcome? And
I
is
do
it
read
true?
the Farmer's Almanac.
The second question is it true that after the first frost, your collard greens are more tender? You ought to know tomorrow.
That's true, because a trick is you could also put them in the freezer and it helps.
And it makes them more sweeter.
Yeah.
Once that frost hits them, it does make them sweeter.
Well, they should be sugar coated by now after
The
last
one-
night.
yes. This morning everything was frosty.
Yeah, it was frosted over.
Question, and this may be naive from my side. First of all, I planted my first garden in my home, at my mother's home actually, during COVID, and I call myself experimenting. Yeah. And that gives me the okay to make mistakes because I'm clueless. Absolutely. And so experimenting says, oh, that didn't work. Let me try something different. Right. And so I put my Thomas Edison hat on and say, well, okay, if I try 1,000 ways, that just means I found 99 ways not to do it. And so, so I'm happy to hear what you're doing. I'm curious, however, and not looking for you guys to do this, but speaking to partnerships, many people don't know how to cook fresh food.
Yes.
Right.
That's the reality of today's society. And so I'm curious as to, I appreciate the cooking demonstrations that you do, but there are entities that might be able to partner with you that you don't have to do the cooking.
Very true.
And so maybe there's an opportunity to partner with those entities that are interested in coming into the West Side that could partner. And so you provide the foods, and so at that point you have meals for people in the community, and that at a part of receiving the meal, you learn how to cook it so that you can do it. I'm just saying partnering so that you're not doing it, but partnering with entities, and so to collaborate. I'm just thinking that might be an opportunity for you guys to be able to do, to expand, because this is a food desert, and because you have the food, and so that you're not wasting, because people aren't coming to get the food because they don't know what the heck to do with it.
Right.
You know, and so that's just a thought for partnering, again, not for you guys to have to do, but for you to partner with those who have that skill.
That's a great idea. And I feel like I'm listening to this and I feel like we kind of like stay in our bubble.
Yes.
Where it's not really, it's our comfort zone. But you're absolutely right to let others, those that are studying culinary arts, whatever, that would be amazing.
Yep.
And have like pre-cooked plates that they can just pick up and, or that we can drop off.
Very true.
All right.
We got time for one more question, y'all. We got to wrap up. Sorry.
Thank you. So this is more a statement and offering than a question. Great thing about being a team and being a team that's connected in purpose is we can have quick little side chats and we're on the same page. And what you mentioned earlier about owning the land and making sure that you guys are able to create legacy and leave legacy in the way that you want to. And going back to your devotion earlier regarding Nehemiah, right? You know, we are more than happy to talk to anyone in the organization, but you know, from a real estate consulting standpoint, we would love to help you guys figure out how to appropriately get the land leases or do acquisitions in a way that's going to be substantial, sustainable, and beneficial, because our biggest goal, like we said earlier, is belonging and creating those spaces where community is rooted and anchored. So just an offering, would love to get somebody's contact information to continue that conversation.
Thank you.
All right. And a round of applause for our panelists this morning. We appreciate you, Historic Westside Gardens. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Amazing work that you've been doing. And I'm going to move this out your way so ain't no hazards as you exit stage left. We appreciate you. One more round of applause for our amazing guests this morning. Thank you so much for coming out. All right. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Ms. Rosario. All right, and I'm going to welcome back up my amazing co-host, Ms. Ebony Ford, and head honcho, President, CEO, top dog, big man on campus.
Big man
you
on
feel
campus.
me?
Yes.
The real star of the show.
Real star. Let's give Mr. John.
John,
So that was a great start. Let's give him another round of applause. They did a great job.
Absolutely, and I know we're a little bit pressed for time, right? So let me go ahead and
Call the winners.
reveal the winners, yes, of our gift
All
cards.
right, look at your tickets. We're about to call the numbers.
Yes, again, so Goodwill of North Georgia, putting people to work, okay? The winning blue ticket number is 130347. 130347. Hey,
Come on down.
come on down. Where's the guy that takes the pictures? Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
There you are. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Right. And then for the Home Depot Foundation gift card, the winning red ticket number is 3990734. 3990734. Well, look
Right,
at
Kimble.
that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
All right. Congrats. Congrats. We know we're going to put that to good use out
I
there.
know that's right. Yes, yes.
All right. Well, John, any closing thoughts?
Well, no, I guess I want to appreciate Rosario and her whole team. I mean, you think their intentionality of working in the community and how hard they work to become self-sustaining. So it's a real testament to hard work and vision. And Rosario mentioned that a few of the properties Westside Future Fund owns, we have some vacant land. We want to continue to support that. And as we bring on more multifamily properties, it was proven a real successful model. You saw the Villas at the Dome, where we help support gardens that are multifamilies, where tenants in those multifamilies and can also, enjoy that. So we'll continue to partner with y'all. We think you do such awesome, wonderful work. So thank you for sharing with us this morning.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, folks, again, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can find the recording of today's summit on YouTube and on Facebook on our pages, Westside Future Fund. And also, we'll be back on December 3rd. And until then, we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving or whatever holidays you are celebrating this year. We appreciate your time and your presence. Again, thanks for everybody tuning in online. And stay warm, folks. It's that time of year. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. On demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen